So on a raise of hands, how many of you guys like traveling or would like to travel in the future? Oh, good enough. That makes me actually pretty happy. According to Leah Lane, an editor of Forbes Life, in an article posted on March 6, 2015, explains how traveling is a stress reliever from work and school. My passports represent my traveling culture and the places I've been throughout my life. Traveling has been my culture since I was very young, and I want people to feel what it's like to be in a different country. I'm not talking about the different cities or different states, but rather outside the country. I want more people to pursue the traveling culture by showing you my experiences and my passports. First, I'm going to talk about what a passport is and does. Then I'm going to briefly go over how to apply for one. And finally, I'm going to talk about how I relate to the culture and to my passports. A passport has always been an identification of yourself, showing your citizenship, and it also protects you when going to and from foreign countries. This little booklet has about 30 pages or so, depending on how much you travel. Every time you leave or enter the country, you get a stamp in your passport, showing that you either arrived to the airport or departed the airport. Since I live in California, I'll use California as an example. In LAX, before you even go to another country, security always checks your passport for proof of identification, mainly because of fraud. They just scan your passport through a machine before you go into your flight. And for those of you who do not have a passport, you can go to a local post office to fill out a form. You just have to bring your birth certificate proving that you were actually born in the United States. And after paying the fees and turning in the form, you just wait for your passport to come to the mail. A passport has always been a symbol for traveling. Everywhere you go requires you to have a passport, especially foreign countries. For example, when you buy a souvenir from a different country, the clerk would sometimes ask you for your identification, and that's when your passport comes into play. And so basically, every time you're in a different country, always have your passport with you. I've been traveling since the age of 4. I do consider myself part of the traveling culture, where all my passports have stamps in it, at least one. I love traveling. It allows me to relax and learn different cultures in different areas. I'm definitely part of the traveling culture, because my family and I have been traveling to many places. They're not in a chronological order, but I've been to China, Canada, Cayman Islands, Europe, Jamaica, Japan, Mexico, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong. I've been to many places. But since I've been traveling since I was at the age of 4, I don't remember certain places like Thailand or Hong Kong. But for the most part, I do remember the main countries that I have been through. And now that I'm at the age of 20, I can finally talk about the places I've been to in a mature manner rather than when I was young and only cared about toys. And then for each country I go to, my family and I will always buy a souvenir to represent that country. We take many pictures of famous landmarks proving that we were actually there. And everywhere I went was actually just a mystery. I wouldn't know what to expect. I'm always looking around the area, trying to absorb the scenery. And just after a while, you kind of understand slightly of how the culture works, like the way people dress, the food around you, the lifestyle is just all absorbed in your head. And that's why I cherish my passport so much, is because I have the opportunity that most people do not in my age, is traveling around the world. And like every time I open my passports, it's just all these memories just flowing back to me. And traveling is you just get unforgettable memories. Like, you get a different experience from reading a pamphlet. Like, they say it's exciting, but how would you know that until you experience it yourself, right? And now I really hope everyone would get their passports ready or try to get one so you can pursue the traveling culture. I first talked about what a passport is and does, then I briefly went over how to apply one. And finally I talked about how I related to my culture and my passports. And the point of traveling is to relax, have fun, and enjoy the new culture.